Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia with Explain America, and we have a blockbuster, earth-shaking report for you today about the Durham report. So before we get started, I'm going to ask you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they're really important, especially in times like these. Folks, the Durham report has finally been released, and it is a damning, brutal condemnation of the conduct of the FBI, the Department of Justice, implicates Hillary Clinton's campaign, a lot of things. It's so bad. It's so bad for the FBI that the FBI released a statement after it basically saying, we don't do that stuff anymore. Not, we didn't do it. We don't do that stuff anymore. It found everything Donald Trump said pretty much was correct, that it was a massive hit job done for political purposes. The FBI lied to get FISA warrants. FBI agents lied to get FISA warrants. It's just brutal all the way around here. It showed that there was bias among some agents against Donald Trump. It's absolutely brutal. And it even implicates, as I said, Hillary Clinton and her campaign. I want you to watch. It was so bad. I'm going to first show you Fox News report on it. Then I'm going to show you CNN report on it. Then I'm going to show you MSNBC report on it. It was so bad that none of the networks could defend the FBI. None could avoid saying what Durham said, that the FBI broke its promise to hold fidelity to the law, and that the investigation, and this is the overarching conclusion that you have to remember, the investigation should never have been launched. After the video, I'm going to tell you the shocking truth about charges being brought in the case.
Correspondent David Spunt, who's standing by. Hi, David.
Hi, Martha. So from the Justice Department, we know Attorney General Merrick Garland received this report from Special Counsel John Durham last Friday. Garland read it over the weekend with his team. We were told by a senior DOJ official he did not make one redaction, didn't take anything out, or didn't even add anything to this 306 pages, directly transmitted it to Capitol Hill, and now we know the report is public. And I think it's important that we go back to the years when this happened, 2016, 2017, a very volatile time in this country, no doubt. So when we hear about the FBI, we're hearing about under the leadership of then FBI Director James Comey. Now, the FBI out with a new statement because no question, Martha, there are some scathing observations about the way that the FBI handled what some would say is preferential treatment toward the Hillary Clinton campaign. The FBI pointing out that they've put many different policies in place since 2016 in the early days of the Trump presidency in 2017. And I'm reading here, quote, from the FBI, had those reforms been in place in 2016, the missteps identified in the report could have been prevented. This report reinforces the importance of ensuring the FBI continues its work with the rigor, objectivity, and professionalism the American people deserve and rightly expect. So as you were talking about with Andy McCarthy, a major theme here, and I've had a chance to just page through some of it, is crossfire hurricane, that overarching theme of the potential Trump campaign connections to Russia. And John Durham says on page 305, the second to last page, Martha, he says, quote, an objective and honest assessment of these strands of information should have caused the FBI to question not only the predication for crossfire hurricane, but also to reflect on whether the FBI was being manipulated for political or other purposes. Unfortunately, it did not, end quote. That coming from John Durham. So John Durham, we looked at the date, began in May of 2019. Specifically, he was appointed May 13th, 2019 by then Attorney General Bill Barr. So we are 4 years and 2 days, to be exact, over that date. He was special counsel in 2020. He was just the U.S. Attorney for Connecticut when he began. Then he became special counsel. And we've calculated as of last September, he spent over $6 million on this probe. Martha?
$6 million and 4 years of work went into this report by John Durham. David, thank you.
CNN, the long-awaited Durham investigation has just concluded. Remember, this is the Trump-era probe that explored the origins of the FBI's investigation into the Trump campaign's ties to Russia. We're joined now by CNN senior justice correspondent Evan Perez. Evan, when this was launched during the Trump administration, those officials vowed to investigate the investigators. What did they accomplish? What more are you learning about the end of this probe?
Yeah, Boris, this is now an investigation that's 4 years in the making, and we finally have the conclusions, more than 300 pages released by the Justice Department. Now, it has now been transmitted to members of Congress who also are going to want to bring John Durham in to review some of the findings. But the bottom line is this. The investigation found that the FBI failed in many, many ways, things that we already knew from a previous Inspector General report. And I'll read you just a part of it, of John Durham's conclusion. He says, based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the department and the FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law in connection with certain events and activities described in this report. This is the top line finding from John Durham, who was taking a look at what the FBI was doing, what the intelligence community was doing. In the end, he doesn't suggest any changes that the FBI and the Justice Department need to do. He says that there are plenty of rules and regulations in place that the FBI just needs to do a better job of following. One of the interesting things that we did uncover here, obviously the suspicion of people in the Trump world, the Trump campaign, obviously of the Trump White House, and Bill Barr, the Attorney General, who did appoint John Durham to do this investigation. They believe that there was this massive conspiracy of spying by the FBI, by the intelligence community of Trump and his campaign. But one of the things that we did find was there was an instance where the FBI sent a confidential source into a Clinton campaign fundraising event, apparently trying to get some information about possibilities that there were promises being made to a foreign government. So a lot of things, we're still going through this, more than 300 pages of this report, and we'll come back to you with some more of these filings. But John Durham's report, 4 years in the making, is finally in the hands of the public and finally in the hands of Republican members of Congress who say they want to learn more. Guys?
So, Evan, I just want to reiterate two of the key takeaways that you noted. First, Special Counsel Durham concluding that the FBI should never have launched its investigation into connections between Donald Trump's campaign and Russia during the 2016 election. But simultaneously, the special counsel did not recommend any new charges against any individuals or any changes to the way that the FBI handles politically charged investigations. So those two key takeaways, very important here. And this does not fall in.
How does the Department of Justice feel about trying to extricate itself from the current moment we're living in?
I think that was reflected in the statement that you read from Chris Wray, the FBI director, who really does want to distance himself from the decisions made by his predecessor, James Comey, and by Andrew McCabe, the deputy director at the time, and is really sending the message, and has been throughout this, in his testimony before Congress, hey, that was the old regime. We've changed the way we do things. This couldn't happen again the same way, particularly around the rules about getting these kinds of surveillance warrants, but also the treatment of presidential campaigns. There is an acknowledgement among some people inside the DOJ that there should be a higher bar when you're talking about investigating a presidential campaign because of the impact of the revelations of that investigation.
And so there you have it. For all of the findings of negativity it found, and it found a lot, for all the corruption and the political hit job that was done here, nothing's going to get done. Nobody's going to get charged. I submit to you that the FBI should be defunded or at least severely cut back on funding after this report. It is inexcusable. You need to drag James Comey before Congress. You need to drag Durham before Congress. You need to drag Chris Wray before Congress. You may even need to drag Hillary Clinton before Congress. That's how serious this is. We are supposed to trust these institutions. They are supposed to protect us. They are supposed to do the right thing, and they failed. They failed miserably. They failed to do the duty of the American people. They betrayed you. They betrayed me. They betrayed Trump. They betrayed the whole system for their hatred for one man. It's absolutely inexcusable, and people do need to be held accountable. This needs to be dragged into the light of day, and the people need to decide, hey, we don't want to fund this anymore. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here today on Explain America. I'm Carmine Sabia. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.